If you're new here, I'm the Classic Farmer, and this is a week in the farm. I say a week, it's more like a month, but a week in the farm sounds better, so we'll go with that. We've been really busy this month. We've got all the harvest done. Most of the machinery has made it back to the yard. Still have to pick the combine up and the turbo tiller. We finished up the baling with the welger, done really well. We even had to bale a little bit of silage to finish it off, so that's always fun to do and try out when you're at something new with a new baler. And the case handled it well. I'll tell you one thing though, you do know that the baler's behind it when you get onto a hill with a full bale of silage. It's pulling the engine, so there must be most of the donkeys that were in this when it was new still in it. Anyway, let's look through a few short clips of what we've been up to over the past few weeks and a little update on how everything's going on the farm. Little does that field know, I'm coming for it tomorrow. What happens when it rains for a solid week after the combine leaves the field? Well, this is what happens. Your straw gets absolutely wringing wet and you have to go and do something about it. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, that's what we're going to do about it. So the hay bob's on the 240. The hay bob will pick up the now flat rows of straw, fluff them up something like this, leaves it nice and fluffy so that the wind can blow through the rows and try and dry them. Here's it coming now, so what do you see? Flat row, fluffy row. It's given the next 3 days good. So we'll turn this today, we'll turn it again tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be dry enough to bale by the end of the 3rd day. Who knows? If it's not, I'd say we're going to lose this straw. It'll either have to be put into rounds for direct feeding or just left to rot onto the ground, but something will have to be done with it. Anyway, fingers crossed that the next 2 days hold out and we get all this straw baled up and saved. Here's a sight we might not see again for a long time. It's the little square baler going in convoy with the big round baler off to bale up some straw away from the farm. Oh, it's all these little moments that make up life, isn't it? I never thought that I would get to the stage where I could have a square baler and a round baler that I own working in the one field. But here we are. If you stick at it, you can make something of it. I thought I was going to get finished up baling straw today, but turns out there's a little bit of silage that needed baled too while I was here. Oh well. Nothing like a bit of night work to finish out the harvest. I'm enjoying having that baler though. So our oat yields weren't great this year. They were probably down about 50% on last year. We did have a bumper harvest last year, so you can't expect it to be as good every year. Some of it we did have to cut a little bit wet, and that's in here to dry. Some of it we had to cut too wet, and it got treated with stuff called popcorn, which is propionic acid. I'll show you a video of it next. But this stuff came in kind of 18%, so we've spread it out on the floor of the shed, let it dry out, and we'll bag it into, I don't know if you can see them there, those little 50 kilo bags, and sell it that way. They make more profit, and that's worth a little bit of while to dry it out and get it onto that instead of popcorn and everything. These are the last two 500 kilo bags waiting to be picked up. All the rest of them have been picked up by the customers and they're away. I think I showed you how we bagged them in a previous video. Yeah, I definitely did. It's in the combine video. If you want to see how we bag these, go and look at a 1970s harvest and you'll see how we do it. But for now, popcorn them. This is how we do that. So what happens if you have a little bit of a field left to harvest, but the moisture is just a little bit high and the weather's closing in? Well, if you're like me, you harvest it anyway, and then you've two choices. You can either take it to be dried. Now unfortunately, there's no one close enough to me with a dryer that I can take it to. Or you apply propionic acid or popcorn to it. And that's what we're doing in the shed at the minute. We're applying popcorn and we're putting it into a bunker that we're going to blow a fan into to keep it cool. So, here's the setup. Popcorn in the balance tank flows out through the valve. This controls your rate that you calibrate at the start of your run. Falls onto the conveyor where it mixes with the grain, and as it goes up the conveyor it mixes better and drops into your bunker. And that's how we're going to preserve the high moisture corn with a little bit of propionic acid. All the straws back and sold as well. We've got about 50 bales left of little squares, and that's it. The rounds that we done, they went straight off the field, so no need to worry about bringing them home. Most of the squares went off the field, but it's always good to bring, you know, a small number back for any of the customers who want 5, 10, 20 bales at a time. It's nice to have a little tiny bit in the shed. And of course, the old grain trailer that we fixed up last year did another good year's service. We'll have to try and maybe get another grain trailer going for next year. So I guess there's more fixing to do over the winter. There's one other thing that's new. I finally took the time to sit down and design the Classic Farmer logo. I'm pretty pleased with it. Took me a little while to do. So there'll now be some Classic Farmer merch appearing at some time in the near future, whenever I get my ass into gear and get the craft side of my Christmas venture that I do every year up and running for another year. And the very last thing we've got to do this week, deliver this Nuffield to its new owner. This one's finally been purchased, so it's off to get fully restored to its former glory. Thankfully it's not off to be a scraper tractor or a yard tractor, it's actually going to someone who's going to bring it up and leave it shining like a new pin. Excellent. Now my wife also convinced me we need to do something. I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but she's convinced me and I've done it, so hang on to the end of the video and you'll see what my wife has talked me into. What's new in the farm? Well, this is time for some chickens. Got a couple of second-hand chicken houses just to get us going. These coops will get us out the door and we'll learn how you take after these feathery little butt egg laying things. Anyway, make for tasty breakfasts. Is this really the start of it? Has my wife really convinced me that chickens are the way forward? You lot better start making butt nugs, because if you don't earn your money's worth, you're not going to want to know where you're going. Right, these feathered butt nug producers need somewhere to go, so I guess we'll just fence off this little bit of the garden, and that'll do them. They can run about here. So what did my wife talk me into buying? Well, I don't know if you'll see it, because it's pretty dark out here. Them things. Can't see it? It's chickens. And it's now nearly 8 o'clock on Sunday night, and I haven't got my video edited, but you can't even see that. I've got half of a chicken run built. I'll finish it off in the morning. If you like what you see, you like old machinery, you like, I don't know, farm life in general, subscribe to the channel. You never know what's coming next, obviously, because now we've got chickens. And I'll see you all in the next one. I don't know what it'll be, but see you next week.